Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We will be on right after this song.
Tommy Torettic. See, I don't like doing this, but I'm gonna teach you a little bit about the world. Yeah. Let's go. Welcome to the shop of Anonymous. I swear I don't want anything to do with this, I promise this. You hear me screaming from the top, I'm dropping knowledge. A barrel's too far gone for a rookie, so I'm calling this. Game over for you, trumps the grind is all I know and do. Breathing fire like a dragon's or new power coming through. Yeah, I'm working 3 jobs so that I can frack that crew. The money you dummy, I'm trying to know honey, can take that love from me. Going to the future and never coming back. Marty McFly, now more like his dad. Trying to be calm, all this news is just whack. Propaganda flying, so know everybody mad. Empathy is gone, so we all for attack. If you disagree, you're just stupid and sad. Use intolerance, or must be smoking crack. Ignorance is bliss, y'all, just to die, yeah. 2 sides of the same coin, killer. Why we ever stop living up for pillars? Acting like everything in life must be a thriller. We're living in a world written by Frank Miller. Cause the Dark Knight's return, so now we churn. See our heroes messed up and now we spurn them because it pisses us off and now we burn their careers alive to the ground. Cause we yearn to be in that position so that we earn millions and millions and millions. But then we turn it to the very thing we hate. Now we revert and we refer to the lines that we rehearse. Spread love and forgiveness only to sing deeper. What did we learn? Distract myself from the world. While the earth fire, air swirl. Bend it to your will, then hurl. Flying buffalo, why don't you give it a whirl? Grab a saber, then just twirl. Force cut a pear, give her a pearl. Power unleashes a churl. Join the dark side with me. Guess it's time I get back to work. Captain of my own enterprise, call me Kirk. Anger and depression always seem to lurk. Round every corner, so I write this just a perk. Everybody moved up, cause we screwed up. Living in a country where we shoot up. Anybody disagree, just to move up the food chain where you grew up. Otherwise they beat you down cause you used up. Time to boot up, new mindset program. Think you knew us, but you shoe us. You only care about us to subdue us, just to screw us. Living in a country full of Judas. Stab you in the back, USA or Brutus. Call them Lucius. Bringing out the Dark Knight, now we tuned up. Time to scoop up any positivity. While the masses all have clueless. They can only catch your speed, Mr. New One's opportunist. Leave them naked in the ground, talking ruthless. I am ruthless. Visions full of kid grown ghoulish, broken ruthless. Spitting proverbs like Confucius, call me Tommy Torettic or Nostradamus. Who this? Who this? Who this? Who this? Who this?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Live streaming directly into your homes and phones via Facebook and the HWWS WebTV channel on YouTube. This is Lights, Thunder, Action, episode 29. I don't know how to say words. I'm Thomas from Rochester, a.k.a. the old son of Dale.
And I'm David Thompson, and today we've got a big show for you guys. Not as much news as normal, but still plenty of news. We've got the Joker. We've got Power Rangers. We've got James frickin' Bond. We've got ShangChi. We've got a lot going on for you guys. Along with, wait till the end, we're going to be talking about the Mandalorian Season 2. Some of our predictions going into next week is Mandalorian Season 2. I can't believe it's already so soon.
Get ready for Fan Thories. Boom.
Next time you'll be seeing us, I'm sure it says at the end, but Mandalorian Season 1 or Season 2 will already be among us, so can't wait for that. Thomas, how are you doing today, bud?
You're acting kind of sus, David.
What?
Among Us? No? Nothing? Was that too hard of a reach for you to get?
I honestly didn't catch it.
See, ladies and gentlemen, if you wake up at 5 a.m., by 5 p.m., your brain is dead. Them's is like spitting straight fax machines.
Especially 5 a.m., 5 days in a row, and this is the 5th day. But hey.
I did not miss that. Oh, wait, I do that now. What am I saying? I'm good, David. I got, Mjolnir back there. I got 2 versions of Tommy. I just got a lot of me going on in the background right now.
Yeah, for real, it looks cool.
I'm doing well. I've been. I don't honestly. I think we're on Saturday. I'm not doing crap tomorrow. Definitely not wearing pants tomorrow. So very, very pumped for that. David, how have you been, Mr. Works a Lot?
I've been good, working a lot. Well, Tom, you know how you know it's Saturday is the Seminoles lost. That's how you know it's Saturday. That's how you can keep it track in your head.
Facts. Facts. Okay, so for those of you that don't follow me on Instagram, I'm just gonna tell you right now. I gave a great review of what happened in the game. We don't know how to catch the ball. You got one job. When it's in your vicinity, grab it.
Hey, great advice. I'm sure they need that.
It's why they go to estate
problems. Yeah.
It's my favorite insult, and I'm keeping it because I didn't go to state school.
True. But yeah,
Okay.
anyway, I've been doing well. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts in the morning. And speaking of podcasts, if you ever want to listen to our audio podcast, you can find that on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. All episodes, Let's Interaction, you can find an audio version of our show. Everything's there, full episodes. It'll be 29 after this week, all 29 episodes. Normally post them 48 hours or less after we go live right now. So if you can't join us or going on a drive, walking your dog, doing whatever, want to listen to audio podcasts, find us in all those places, just that Lights, Thunder, Action. We will be there.
You can also find us on Facebook at Lights Thunder Action Show, where we will live stream every week to our Facebook page, as well as the HWWS WebTV channel on YouTube. Of course, you can find us on Instagram at Lights Thunder Action, all one word, no hyphens, no spaces. Twitter, LTA Podcasting, Action Verbs. And of course, you can find all of our fun little clips of shenanigans, or from this past week, long clips of 10 minutes of David ranting on our YouTube channel, Lights Thunder Action, !
So Thomas, missed it. What have you been watching, big guy?
All right. So I finally finished Korra.
Oh, yeah, right.
And I cried like a baby. Just the character. Okay, so first off, just quick. All I'm going to say is Prince Wu with the character development. Who saw that coming? Not this guy. Also, Bolin, which is just great, honestly. He's my favorite character. Who was it? Who was the other? Oh, yeah, Varric character development. David, are any of these names making any sense to you?
I don't really quite remember. I remember I watched a little bit of Korra when I was when it first came out.
You're actually in that demographic.
Yeah,
when it came out.
yeah. No, I mean, for me, Last Airbender was a big deal when I was a kid. Of course, I've seen all of that. But Korra, I kind of honestly, I remember when Korra came out. It was almost when I was younger, anyway. I'm sure now I would enjoy it, but when it came out initially, I was like, oh man, I don't need to watch this, or this is almost just some crappy spin-off, or you know what I mean? That was just kind of the interpretation I got when I was younger, tuning in. Not that was at all what the case actually was. It was just the perception. It's almost like this is going to be a funny reference. Remember Dora the Explorer? And then there is Diego the Explorer. Yeah.
Oh wait, there was a Diego?
Yeah, exactly. And when Diego started happening, it could have been a good show. Could have been better than Dora, but I wasn't watching that because I guess I'd grown up a little older, and I'm like, this is a dumb ripoff.
No, it's a spin-off.
Right, exactly. A dumb spin-off. And I guess that's kind of why
much vitriol.
I didn't get into Korra initially, but yeah, it's all on Netflix, right?
It is all on Netflix. You know what else is on Netflix that I started after? Because it was all the memes say it's the spiritual sequel to those shows. And B, Netflix recommended it right after, The Dragon Prince. I already finished season 1. It's only 9 episodes of 26 minutes. Really freaking good show. Holy crap. Avatar vibes, but more medieval.
Yeah,
in its composition, more fantasy. Definitely far more in the fantasy realm. You got moon elves and dragons and etc. So highly recommend that. I may or may not have stayed up late last night watching that and then had dreams about it. I don't know. I don't fully recall my dreams. David, have you watched anything?
Yeah, no. I mean, I haven't been watching much. I'm not gonna lie. But it's funny. Nothing too exciting. I have been watching. I watched a few episodes of The Office the other day, and a little bit today. I'm a big Office guy. I love The Office, one of my favorite shows. Of course. I mean, it's just like a classic at this point. And I don't know. I think it was just like, so I jumped at some random spot in season 2 because I saw an episode that I knew I really liked. And I was just like wanting to relax, I guess. It would have been like a long day. And I'm like, I just need like some comfort food television wise. So I just put on The Office. And I think I was eating as well. So I was just trying to just like sink in my chair and relax. And so I turn on and now I'm like, it's so funny. It just like hooked me in immediately. I started season 2 and now like I'm kind of like watched an episode or two the last couple of days just because I'm like, oh, it's like the next episode. And I'm just like on my iPad trying to go to sleep and I turn it on, or even earlier today.
I'm on my iPad trying to go to sleep. How contradictory of you.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's hard. I don't know. I'm a pretty good sleeper, but sometimes I just need to kind of do something a bit to wind my brain down.
I just throw on music meditations on my iPad and pass out.
That's really good too.
It is. I highly recommend it, honestly. Especially you set one for like if you go to bed you end up going to bed later than you should. Mister wakes up at 3 a.m. or whatever it is.
4 a.m.
4 a.m. 4, 5, 3 to me.
3 to you is right. Yeah.
3 to me. Yeah. So David, are you ready for this insanity that is about to? I don't honestly. I know I've been teasing all week. I'm going to review Borat, but it is so abso-frackin-lutely bonkers that I can't review it by myself. So I am going to hold back the full review, and instead I'm going to spend 5 minutes later this show trying to convince David to watch it.
Okay, I'll save my thoughts
because I'm just going to drop some jokes in, some things that are pretty funny. First off, fax machine. That's probably the funniest thing, the thing that I found to be hilarious every time, because they do some shit in this movie that I'm just like,
you've made me beyond curious after your reaction for sure.
Oh yeah, yes. I sent David a 60-second pitch last night with my friend who watched it, and he and I both grew up watching the original Borat. So we're like, yeah, it's going to be great. And then it's over, and we're like, I honestly don't know what to think about this movie. I am bewildered, to say the least.
My favorite part was you're just like, there was a plot.
There was a plot. I did not anticipate a plot-driven movie from Borat. All right? I'll be honest. Yeah. Caught me off guard.
It hooked me in though, for sure. There is actually a plot.
Yeah. So that is going to lead us right into everyone's favorite segment of the day. What the news?
Starting off with a pretty big story right here. This is coming from the Hollywood Reporter. Nice. Jared Leto is returning. In the year of people returning the roles that I did not expect, it just keeps adding on. And Jared Leto's Joker is coming back. Obviously starred. I say starred in quotes because I think that he filmed a lot more than actually was shown in the movie that should have been in there. So he kind of starred in Suicide Squad 2016's version. And he's coming back for Zack Snyder's Justice League. Also, important note, it's now officially called Zack Snyder's Justice League, I believe, is like the official HBO name for the Snyder Cut. So,
huzzah.
Yeah, huzzah. And the Joker is going to be there. So Hollywood Reporter is reporting that Jared Leto, who played classic DC villain, the Joker in 2016 Suicide Squad, has joined in the shooting of additional footage for the Snyder Cut. So he didn't actually film any scenes at all for the first movie, like for the initial release of the Justice League in 2017. He didn't film anything. And now this is his first time actually filming for Justice League. And a lot of questions are opening up, how big his role will be. It's stunning they even got him to come back. Does that mean it's a big role or a small role? I feel like it could go either way, because part of me thinks there's been quotes saying that he was kind of disturbed or angry about how in Suicide Squad that he didn't get the runtime he thought he was going to after all the scenes that he shot. And in Justice League, I wonder if he'd even have bothered coming back if it was a small role, or if Zack Snyder was like, hey, this thing's 4 hours long. You're going to be in 45 minutes of it, and that's a significant chunk. I'm going to be honest. I actually kind of liked Jared Leto's rendition of the Joker. I found it interesting. I thought it was a completely new version. I still don't love the tattoo on the forehead, but it kind of fit the character. It did that. Yeah. That was the one part that just looked really goofy to me, where it kind of took me out. And I almost wonder if they'll like keep that, because
they'll keep it. It's continuity. I'm just gonna take the reins real quick for this Joker Fest.
Yeah,
I also like his rendition. I enjoyed the fact that it was different from what we'd already seen.
Yeah.
Everyone, and this is the probably my entire like spiel for the day, because I've been thinking about it so much. Everyone always wants to compare something to something else, even when they're tomatoes and potatoes, right? They're same in terms of how they sound,
potatoes,
but they're very different. So right. Heath Ledger's Joker is very different from Jared Leto's Joker, and that's good. We want different. We don't want carbon copies, because what's the damn point at that point?
Yeah.
So I'm excited that he's coming back. I think it's going to be a tiny, maybe 15 minutes. I believe that I honestly am wondering
15 minutes in the movie or in the series.
I don't think it'll be. Honestly, my gut says it'll be a new post-credit scene.
Really?
I could see Zack Snyder and Warner Brothers secretly working on a Justice League versus Legion of Doom thing. I mean, you got Deathstroke, you've got Lex Luthor. If you pull in the Joker, that would be bonkers. Like 150. I mean, Black Manta as well. There's a lot that you could do there.
Yeah, true.
So it's possible. I don't know if that's what's going to happen, but I feel like he's only going to be there for a, oh, hey, remember me? I was that guy in that thing. The Suicide Squad we don't talk about.
Yeah.
So I'm very intrigued, very surprised. And while we're here and I'm talking about Suicide Squad, look at this great joke that I found.
Oh my gosh.
For the audio listeners, it says it's the Suicide Squad logo, but it's taken out all the DC characters, and you have Yondu, Black Widow, Iron Man, Quicksilver, and Old Groot. I think that's just hilarious, and that's a wonderful segue to nothing. Because this week, the best our guest actually said Cheetah. Yes, Cheetah could be in the Legion of Doom. Ooh, exciting. What was I saying? Oh, yes. This week,
Power Rangers.
First off, go Power Rangers. It's about time that this news is official. I believe this has been rumored for the last 2 or 3 years. And the news is Jonathan Entwistle will shepherd the next series of screen adaptations as Hasbro's E1 arm takes the reins of the Power Rangers franchise. What does that mean? They are getting film and TV treatment from the same guy. It sounds as if they'll be connected into a Power universe. That was a hard stretch. Didn't work. I failed. I'm sorry, everyone. I'm so sorry for subjecting you to like a pre-dad joke, I guess.
Pre-dad joke.
Pre-dad joke. It's so bad. It's just pre-dad. The quote is from the company. E1's film president, Nick Meyer, says Jonathan has an incredible vision for this iconic and hugely successful franchise, and hands down is the right architect to join us as we reimagine the television and film worlds of this property. He goes on to say, across our slate, we are looking forward to working with the talented storytellers as we take on Hasbro's rich, fan-favorite brands and build entertainment universes around them. Entwistle said, because I'm just going to knock these quotes out and go into my crazy thoughts,
Yeah.
This is an unbelievable opportunity to deliver Power Rangers to both new and existing generations of awaiting and adoring fans. We'll bring the spirit of analog into the future, harnessing the action and storytelling that made this brand a success. So let's just dive right into the fan story. There have been rumors in the past 6 or 7 months that Hasbro and Power Rangers have ended their contract and their agreement with Toei, who is the producers and owners and creators of the Super Sentai series in Japan. All the Power Rangers you've seen, except for 2017's film, has been repurposed suit footage where they're fighting in their suits, and then they film with new actors and they just dub over with ADR. That is the Power Rangers model. You got half of it already made, then you film the other half, you ADR the rest, and bing, bang, boom, you pop out like 40 episodes a year.
Okay.
Woo. That is how it all works with the Power Rangers. I think them ending with Toei means that they're going to go in a direction of pure creativity to create something new and fresh. Now, if that rumor is true and they have ended their agreement, no idea whatsoever as to whether or not they own the rights to the footage they already have. So they might be able, not just the rights, but the images, the IP, basically.
Yeah.
So can they bring back the good old-fashioned Mighty Morphin Power Rangers suits into a new film and TV series as a way to reboot it or make it modern? There's a rumor that the movie is going to deal with time travel, going back to the 90s, getting the original Power Coins, coming back to the future. I said it. And then fighting and doing the karate chops, right? Who the hell knows? I do know that the comics have done exactly what fans have always wanted, which is giving us stories inside the universe with these characters we already know and expanding around what we have seen in the show.
Yeah.
So the comics actually do interweave in and out with the show here and there. They have certain plots in the show, and they just do all the crazy stuff that would have never been able to do in the 90s based on budgets. Holy crap, it would cost so much money. So what does that mean for us Power Ranger fans? Isn't that the question? David, am I going to make you a Power Rangers fan now?
Maybe this series will. Who knows? Obviously, I'm not a big Power Rangers fan or anything. Hardly. I mean, as little. I mean, just enough. I would say just to know what the Power Rangers are, and we did watch the what was that? The 1995 Power Rangers movie. That was fun. I will say this does interest me in the way where, they're building something here. They're trying to do something that's relevant and up to the 2020 standard of maybe trying to create a universe. And I mean, they do hold. I know the 2017 movie wasn't a hit or whatever happened with that, but the Power Rangers is a big IP, and I think it's something that could be really profitable. It's something that, if done well, could come back into the priority of the zeitgeist we live in with nerd culture and shout out nerd culture and all the other things that we talk about. Where if this really did they speak on how they're going to what the channel, the medium for how they're going to come out with these, the TV shows?
Nope,
nothing. They just have I guess they're not owned by any kind of company that would make them go on a certain streaming service or anything like that.
No, it's believed. I mean, Netflix is already working with Hasbro, like the Transformers War of Cybertron is a Netflix original, and it's absolutely. You know what? Honestly, we're just gonna bring in our guest here because he might know a little bit better than we in this demographic. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Jerome Connor from Saturday Morning Cartoons.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for inviting me. This is it's a lot of fun. I've been wanting to jump in on some of your comments. It's been fun listening to you. Concerning the Power Rangers, I haven't really heard anything other than what you've heard.
Mhm.
But knowing how this works with this sort of thing, I'm pretty sure where you're going to see one of two things. You're either going to see brand new uniforms, brand new, the gaiju and the bots that they use to fight, because that would mean new revenue stream, and that's what this is all about. We always forget that the show business side of it. A lot of people keep forgetting the business side. That if Hasbro's involved in it, they're going to do a lot of new stuff because they want to rake in some cash. Okay,
Right.
It's cynical, it's horrible, but we have to face up to it.
Makes sense to me. It's not surprising.
Right.
They want to make that dough from especially the toys, and Power Rangers toys I feel like are so popular. If anything, when I was a kid, I was a fan of the Power Rangers toys.
Oh, absolutely. The toys sold a gazillion. I mean, how many of you? I mean, I'm old. I'm significantly older than you guys. Okay, but how many of you remember the Power Rangers Halloween costumes? When they had the Green Ranger had the sword, that sword sold like crazy at Christmas time. It was one of those, you couldn't find it for love or money, and that's what they're looking for. They're looking for lightning in a bottle again. Okay. Yeah. The problem is going to be, though, is that how they're distributing it out to the world. Not everybody is on the streaming services. Okay. And that's where you need to really look. If they're going to get lightning in a bottle, then they've got to get it so they can get wide market. Streaming services are not going to do that for them. Okay?
Yeah, I'm very curious as to how. That's what I was asking Thomas. Like, what's the plan for how they're going to distribute this? Because it seems all well and good, but like, how are we going to? Are the movies going to be theatrical releases? Are the TV shows going to be network television shows? Are we going to see this on like the CW or something? Or is it going to be a eight episode series on Peacock or something?
Right. The problem is that there is no more Saturday morning cartoons.
Right.
Where Power Rangers first showed up, and that was how they lit that lightning. Okay, was they had that large market because all the major three networks had pretty much either were winding down or had wind down their Saturday morning cartoons. When the Power Rangers came on, you had Fox, and WB was just starting CW was starting their shows also, and they were the only game in town. Cartoon Network was still running rerun shows. From previous years. They had just started new shows and they hadn't gotten the audience yet. They were building that audience. So Power Rangers came out at just the right moment. Their timing was perfect. Now we can go further back into a show called Night Flight where a similar type of comedy was done with a similar show back in the early 80s, but that's probably before your time. I see you nodding, Tom. But Power Rangers, other than what you guys have heard, I'm suspecting that you're going to see new uniforms, but they're going to make nods to a lot of the old stuff because they don't want to destroy that built-in audience too heavily. But they are going to move on to the new audience because they're looking at the next generation going, we've got all these young kids who have really never seen Power Rangers. So we want to get them excited onto their next generation type of version of Power Rangers and bug mom and dad to go buy all the toys.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's definitely the end goal, I think, with this. And I think also to bring some nostalgic fans a lot of joy. Absolutely. And maybe, and obviously to bring in a whole lot of new fans, hopefully is their idea, is to get in the kids. And I think one point that I want to say is that a lot of kids now say, me, Tom, whoever, like, especially when I was growing up, Saturday morning cartoons and Cartoon Network, just like watching Teen Titans after school and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like nowadays,
I've got a 7-year-old. Okay, so I'm watching Cartoon Network and Disney and Nickelodeon all the time. But I tell you, to bring in that older audience, you're probably going to see a lot of cameos from the original crews. Those that are still living. Okay. Unfortunately, a number of them have passed due to various reasons, from traffic accidents, drug overdose, or just, natural causes. So those that are still around, I'm pretty sure you're going to see at least one of them cast for a few episodes.
Yeah.
So that they can go, oh yeah, original 2000 version or whatever,
Yes, and I think the final thing I want to say about this is all of the people that I know that are huge Power Ranger fans that are buying the comics, we want them to make an animated show centered in or around the comic books, doing what the comics did, which is expanding on the universe. You can bring back the original actors. They have voices still. They can still say what they need to, that's easy. They don't have to worry about age. And then you can expand on all these great characters that are there and are fleshed out. And the comics had, the Shattered Grid with Lord Draken and created the first evil, first major canon change. And it's, an evil version of Tommy from another reality. That's awesome. Why not do more of that?
So, a great idea. I would love to see it also. But here's the reality. Okay, first off is unless the Power Ranger shows and movies does well, you're not going to see it. Okay, if it takes off like the previous did, then you probably got a good shot at it. Because remember, it costs money to do animation. Okay. And again, we're talking about that. And I hate talking about this because I want to sit back and enjoy and not have to think about, okay, is this show doing well to get what we're talking about, that we want. Now, the other problem is, and you've seen this in both Star Trek and Star Wars, is that when new shows or new things come in, the creators kind of throw away all the previous stuff and all the previous canon. Star Wars is especially having that issue right now. And I'm a Star Trek fan, so don't get me started about Discovery and Picard. But
I heard about Discovery, that time travel, and it's like,
okay. That's called writing yourself into a corner and then having the only way to get out. But a lot of when they take over these older IPs is they want to get rid of it so they don't have the baggage to work with. So that's why I'm thinking you're going to see basically maybe a reboot of the entire Power Ranger universe.
I wouldn't be surprised by that. Start fresh, have the cameos pop up, and then just make a new story.
Yeah, you'll get the cameos without a problem because that's fan service. But you're going to see everything new. And the question is how young are these kids going to be? That are going to be the new ones. And I agree with you, Tom. I think the way for them to go is to start, not the previously done stuff from Japan and then just do the voiceover and all that. I think nowadays with everything that they can do with CGI and everything, I think having the actors in the suits would be much better. I mean, come on, you could see it. It got so bad. One kid had gained a little bit of weight, and you could see when he put on the uniform, he was suddenly, rail thin.
Yes. Yeah.
You don't want to know about mine.
What else? Something else is actually being rebooted, and this is why we brought Jerome on. Is the Animaniacs?
I've had that song in my head all week. Between that, my daughter loves the song for Pinky and the Brain.
Oh my God!
My wife hates me because she says it's earwormed her, the Pinky and the Brain theme song.
So Jerome, what was the news this week with Animaniacs? David was not alive when they were on.
Okay, so the news is Animaniacs is coming out on Hulu on November 20th. 13 episodes. That's all we're getting. Now, this has been in the works since at least 2018. Okay. As to why it took so long, there's lots of rumors, lots of 90% of the rumors you hear, you have to throw out. Okay. The rumors I've heard is problems with the actors, problems with getting Warner Brothers on because they own it, problems getting Spielberg on because he's distracted with other things, and problems with just getting everything sort of meshed together because it takes time to draw those pictures out. Yeah. And also the fact is if you go back and look at it, what was one of the favorite lines of Animaniacs was "Hello, Nurse." And when the era of Me Too, can you really do that joke? So again, you're looking at a lot of stuff. Go back and watch the original Animaniacs. Number of things you couldn't do back that we did back then that you can't do now. Okay, so they probably had to go back and redo some things. That's why it took 2 years to do. Okay, the good news is it's back. They're done. 13 episodes. My favorite commercial for it has been the Jurassic Park commercial. If you haven't seen it, go find it. It's on there. They also make a joke of how much money they're getting to come back, that they've sold out. And they're like, we did. Here's the money, So I did see some interviews from back in 2018, and the guys who played Yakko and Wacko and played Wacko also plays Pinky. Was very excited. He said we took huge pot shots at Clinton. We're going to take shots at Trump. So it ought to be interesting to see what they do with that. They've already shown something already, but it's very exciting. Unfortunately, I don't get Hulu because I'm currently unemployed, so I've had to cut back on everything. So, but I know it'll leak out somewhere, and I'm super excited to see it.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen it, there's great things like the state capital song. I recommend you go watch that. If you ever had a problem learning the capitals, that was great. They did a song called the Nations of the World. And when you watch it, it's about 3 or 4 minutes long, and it was all done in one take.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, when I heard that, I was stunned myself. And they've added songs to it, so that they're talking that they might have added an updated version to the show. But the actors are just dynamite. They're loving to come back. They say the fans have been begging for it. Spielberg's involved once again, which means he's got oversight. And he's been known to basically stick his fingers into shows. So, so that's pretty much. And yes, Pinky and the Brain do have a segment in Animaniacs,
which is great. That's what I remember. I remember Pinky and the Brain far more than the Animaniacs.
Yeah. Well, they call Animaniacs a variety show because you got songs, you got comedy sketches, you got guest stars and everything else. But yeah, Pinky and the Brain was the breakout character group because it's what everybody's wanted to do. We've all wanted to take over the world.
Yes.
And unfortunately, most of us are Pinky, not Brain.
Yeah. I act like Pinky because I don't want everyone to know that I could be Brain. Safety first.
There's a what is that? I think it's called Retro Jukebox. They do this sort of jazz version of the theme to Pinky and the Brain. And all I can say is I've never heard a narf so sexily done. Okay. So anyway, yeah, it's an exciting time right now with Animaniacs. I suspect it's going to be an instant hit. I know they're going to make some fan service to the previous stuff. But beyond that, they've been keeping it really tight, about what's coming.
Right.
So
awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jerome. If you want to hang out in the lobby, we'll bring you back on. If
I'm always
for a couple other news stories. I got one that I'm like that he could probably help us with this.
By the way, Cheetah, Silver Swan is Wonder Woman. The Superman ones would be more interesting as to who do you bring on. I would love to see them in the Legion of Doom bring Toyman.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. You can also figure out how you're going to bring Brainiac and Lex Luthor because they got to get a better Lex Luthor than the last one they had.
Yeah, I like Eisenberg.
You don't like Jesse Eisenberg?
No, I'm not a big Eisenberg fan.
I think if they, I feel like if he was able to just be full on evil, it would be great.
Oh, he's got to be corporate evil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he was like.
I'm watching
quirky.
Utopia right now, okay, off of Amazon Prime, and corporate evil in that one is oh god, I just blanked on his name. He was in Better Off Dead. Oh god, now I have a brain cramp. But anyway, the guy that's in there is corporate evil.
Yeah.
I mean, which is it's just evil to do his plots, but when he's in front of camera, stockholders, he's all smiles and grins. That's Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that's what you want. Eisenberg just doesn't pull that off.
Yeah, that wasn't really the character they were like playing with him because he was being Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor, not really like
almost.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's just my 2 cents.
Understood. All right, we're going to drop you down in the lobby really quick, and we're going to continue on. David, what is our next topic?
Yeah, so moving right along here, ladies and gentlemen, we have an Uncharted picture to share. It has been shared by the people over at Uncharted and Tom Holland himself on his Instagram. and it is the first official picture of Tom Holland as Nathan Drake. And pretty cool. Seems like they've built a bit of a set there for what they're filming. He looks pretty accurate to what Nathan Drake looks like in the video games. Thomas, have you played any of Uncharted?
Negative.
Well, you're like an Xbox guy, and it's a Sony exclusive.
It's not that I'm an X. It's not about me being an Xbox guy. It's just I never bought it because I have a PS3, and I've had PlayStation until I got an Xbox, and I only got an Xbox because my nephews have an Xbox, and I thought we'd have fun playing together. We play different games, so stuff happens.
So, hi Willow, I'm doing well.
God, I forgot to check the comments.
She said hi.
I
want to say, so a lot of people have talked about Tom Holland's casting as Nathan Drake as being like, what is this? They want Nathan Fillion. Isn't that his name?
Yes.
And yeah, that's like the whole, everyone was fan fictioning that he should be Nathan Drake. Of course, I love Tom Holland. He's Spider-Man. I think he's great. And it's kind of funny that Sony is just milking Tom Holland at this point. I mean, he's Spider-Man, he's Nathan Drake. These are, for Sony, Uncharted movie has been in the works for literally like 10 years. They've been trying to get this thing off the ground because it's one of their highest selling, most sold copies of any Sony exclusive game. Very popular game. And of course, they want to make a film out of it because Sony Studios, is trying to be a successful business. And beyond Spider-Man, Uncharted is one of their best IPs to use here. And it's funny they're using Tom Holland again for this. But I will say, I mean, he's supposed to be obviously a younger Nathan Drake. And we see, I think it's in Uncharted 3. It won't be exactly like this, I don't think. But I think in Uncharted 3, we see when Sully and Nate first meet. And Nate's like he's like a teenager, like stealing stuff and doing all this interesting. He's like probably like 14 or 15 or something. And if we get kind of like an in-between years of that and this story, and Mark Wahlberg as Sully, it's obviously they're younger because Sully I know you have no idea.
I know who Mackie Mac is.
Yeah. Well, Mark Wahlberg is the last person you would probably have thought would be cast as Sully. I would have casted. I would have thought that J.K. Simmons had a better shot than Mark Wahlberg as being cast as Sully. But
could you wait? Is he like a good guy or a bad guy?
He's good. He's good.
Could you imagine Spider-Man and J. Jonah Jameson being on the same side?
Well, we can't think about that now. We got Mark Wahlberg. But I'm excited for this movie, obviously, because I'm an Uncharted fan. They're still shooting right now. I think they're wrapping up soon. Another interesting point I wanted to bring up is that it wasn't a part of this news exactly, but it kind of it's in line with this. Uncharted is wrapping up filming soon, and Spider-Man, Tom Holland, is going to be swinging right into Spider-Man 3 and won't stop until March 2021. So he's going back-to-back films for Sony. He's just working so hard. And Uncharted, I think, is supposed to come out. Its current release date is July of next year, if I remember that correctly. With all the timelines moving, I can't keep up still. But I believe Uncharted's still supposed to be next summer. It's going to be before Spider-Man 3, which is how the plan always was. So Tom Holland is a busy guy. It's a cool look. That's pretty much all I've got, and I'm excited for this movie.
Yeah. Let's go. Here's one thing I do want to say. I love Indiana Jones so effing much that and I've heard that, Uncharted is basically similar to Indiana Jones in terms of the general plot. So I'm like, cool. I want more Indiana Jones. I want fun stuff like that. So hell yeah. What is actually has wrapped? This is going to be a short story.
Yeah, it's a really short story.
ShangChi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
Yeah, so we're getting the announcement from the ShangChi director and star actor that it is done filming, which is funny. I actually thought it was really funny when I saw this news first pop up on my Twitter, was that I kind of forgot about this movie filming in general. Honestly, I literally forgot that because we haven't talked about it in a little while. I've seen more articles about Falcon and Winter Soldier and Uncharted and other and WandaVision, stuff like that. I haven't heard. It's been kind of quiet to me. Like I think I initially texted him like ShangChi just quietly stopped, like wrapped up filming, because we haven't heard that many updates in the recent time, and now they're just done. They're completely finished filming, and there probably will be reshoots. But this movie also comes out next July along with Uncharted. Ooh, might be some competition there. I'm very excited for this movie. I'm excited that it's done wrapping. Thomas, what were your thoughts when you saw this?
Finally. I mean, I'm excited. I've always been excited for this movie. I'm just gonna say it. I want Fin Fang Foom. Give me the dragon.
Yeah.
Or bust. But having said that, if you look inside the ShangChi logo, there is a dragon, which is similar in composition to Fin Fang Foom himself.
Dude.
So lit.
I can't wait just for the Legend of the Ten Rings part of this whole movie and bringing it back to just like how the whole MCU started. I think it's going to be an awesome film. I think that it's well casted, and the idea of it, I think the choreograph is going to be amazing. One thing I also want to point out, how we're saying how, it's finished up wrapping, Uncharted's filming, and Spider-Man 3 is going to be going soon. It's bringing me back to my point that I brought up, I think last week or maybe the week before, how right now in the world with the pandemic, we're seeing that TV shows and films are being able to successfully film and get everything, put everything in a jar and saving it for later. But the problem is we're going to get to a point where it's just going to it's going to be at a, like too much is filling in the jar, because if we don't get theaters opening by next spring, I mean, the delays are going to be unreal. Because we've seen Sony, the head of Sony Pictures, saying we will not open until we can fill up a theater. And I believe, someone can fact check me if I'm wrong, I do believe that Morbius is set to come out March of 2021. And at that point, how many months is that away? Like 6 months from now? Less than that? So
less.
And less than 6 months from now, Sony is expecting Morbius to be able to be in a fold-up theater. And if Morbius does not happen, then we might be seeing more and more delays. But at the same time, more and more stuff can continue to be filmed and stowed away, put on the hard drive. So it's a really weird. I just can't wait for the floodgates to open, and whenever it does, because it will. It will, everyone. We're being patient. But it's still interesting to me that not everything's paused. To us, taking in this content in the movie theater, that's paused. But them actually producing it and creating it, they've been able to find a way around that. And that's a good thing, because the floodgates are going to open at some point.
You know what else opened recently that no one, like literally no one saw coming? It's the James Bond, whatever the hell's going on.
Well, this this goes right in line with what I was just saying. Now we're getting studios looking at different opportunities and looking in different directions to make a profit off of their produced, filmed, wrapped up, edited movie. So James Bond, No Time to Die. This is a really fascinating story to me. When I just saw this earlier, I was like, wait, could this be a sign of the times? Could this be a new thing that studios try to do? I mean, we just saw last week that Eddie Murphy movie got sold for $125 million to Amazon. Get this. This is the news, everyone. James Bond, No Time to Die was exploring a $600 million sale to both, what was it? It was Apple TV Plus and Netflix. So, yeah, there we go. So, James Bond was initially supposed to come out in November. That didn't happen. Right? They pushed it to next year, as a lot of things have. They've been pushed to 2021.
That won't happen.
What?
We're in October.
Right. Yeah, that won't. Yeah, it won't happen. Sorry.
Just keeping everyone on track. Because
what I say, it didn't happen.
For a second, you said it didn't happen. I was like, holy shit, are we in December already?
No, well, they canceled it, so it's not going to happen.
Okay.
Right.
Cool.
Exactly. You're right. It was supposed to come out next month. It's not going to happen. And now, honestly, I want your thoughts on this, Thomas. We could even bring Jerome back for this question too in a second. $600 million, right? And you're sitting there as Apple TV Plus, because Netflix, they're the big kid. They're the bully on campus when it comes to streaming services, right? They're not the new kid on the block. They have the reputation. They have all the cool friends. They have all the power. Apple TV Plus, obviously, it's coming from Apple, a very, very lucrative, valuable company. But Apple TV Plus, the streaming service, is one of the weaker streaming services out there, right? I don't even know how much it costs a month. It is
$4.99 a month.
Yeah, so it's on the cheaper side, obviously. So they're trying to get an audience. I think my brother actually pays for it, and we have it, but I don't even know what's on.
I have it for free because I got a full year subscription when I bought my iPhone.
Yeah,
I have officially watched nothing.
Exactly. So there's
a lot of stuff I want to, but like I just don't have the time to go outside of my normal zeitgeist because I'm working.
And I know, yeah, exactly. And I know that there's that Tom Hanks movie that came out that was supposed to come out to theaters this past spring, and it sold to Apple TV Plus. They bought it, and it's now exclusively on there. I forget the name of it. He's like a captain on a ship.
Submarine movie, maybe.
I would have probably seen that film if it went to theater.
The Greyhound, the Grey Ghost. Ooh, it's the Greyhound. Look at that! I got it on the first try. The Grey Ghost is the name of my car.
Yeah, like so they bought Greyhound. Here's my question that I want to pose: if I'm Apple TV Plus, I'm Apple, who has so much money, right? I consider buying No Time to Die for $600 million. You know what I mean? I mean, maybe this was not the actual price or whatever, but $600 million. I think about this. A lot of people are excited for No Time to Die and just James Bond in general. If I'm Apple TV Plus, I'm sitting there thinking, I mean, maybe their numbers are better than I thought, but no one talks about that streaming service. A lot of people probably don't know it even exists. People probably think, oh, right, yeah, I have an Apple TV. What do you mean? Yeah, it's my little box right there. No, Apple TV Plus. And I think that if they had made this transaction, it could have been possibly a good move for them. It's a lot of money, obviously, but what are you guys' thoughts on that? Or Thomas?
Yeah, we'll bring Jerome up in a minute. My thoughts are short and sweet. $600 million. Like, what the I would not pay $600 million to put Avengers Endgame on my streaming service because at the end of the day, there are people who will go, meh. I'll watch it when I want to watch it.
Right.
So they would, to accrue those subscriptions, for Netflix, it's a loss. That's a big loss right there. Apple TV Plus, the stuff that they're putting out is well done, but it's series. I don't think they have any original movies that they produced.
Yeah.
The Greyhound has come out. Cool. Who's watched it? Exactly. So I forgot that was a freaking movie coming out.
Yeah,
honestly. Yeah. So if they were to actually pay that king's ransom, would anyone actually create a subscription?
I think they might. I do believe if there was a proper marketing movement behind it, where it's like all of a sudden now we're getting pushed with James Bond 007 ads, trailers saying exclusively on Apple TV Plus, that people would see that ad, go on their phone, go on their laptop, and sign up. I'm not saying it would have been the best business move in the world, but it would have given Apple TV Plus an identity in the streaming service universe we live in now, where it's like, hey, for example, like Disney Plus has Mandalorian, and for a moment there, it was like Netflix has what was the movie with Sandra Bullock and she can't
Bird Box.
There was that moment in time. There's been a lot of those moments with Netflix, but film wise, that was really one of the biggest moments. It's like Bird Box, Netflix. You have to have a Netflix subscription. Everyone has Netflix anyway, but Bird Box, big movie, and it's on a streaming service. I think for The Boys on Amazon Prime, that's their thing. I think if Apple TV Plus, 600's a lot, right? I mean, I'm not trying to be like, oh, of course, why didn't they do that? I'm just trying to say they might. I think they probably considered it because
everybody considered it.
Seriously, could have gotten a lot of subscribers and kept those subscribers, especially because it's only $5 a month. And now all of a sudden you have a niche, I guess, and an targeted audience, and all these eyes going to your service. Anyway, that's my rant on that. Why I guess they should have considered.
Well, again, who said they didn't consider? Jerome, what are your thoughts on this King's Ransom story?
All right, I'm a Bond fan from way back. Okay, I'll tell you right now, my first Bond film that I saw was in the theater, which was Man with the Golden Gun. So that tells you how far back I go.
Yeah.
Okay, Bond was huge. Okay, in its day. Okay, part of the reason was John Kennedy was a big fan of the Bond novels. Okay, one of his favorite books was Goldfinger. So go read it. It's a fun book. Puts a whole new perspective on the whole relationship between him and Pussy Galore. Trust me on this one. The Bond films have been struggling. They've been trying to find an audience in post-Cold War Me Too environment. Okay. Yeah. Daniel Craig did a dynamite job bringing that franchise back. Okay. Yeah. I have to say the only one of them that I thought was really bad was Spectre, but that had a lot of script problems. Wasn't the actor. $600 million. The only way I would have recommended paying that is if you give me the entire franchise.
Yeah.
All the movies.
Yeah.
Okay. Because right now, Bond's on Netflix.
Yep.
Okay. All the old films are on Netflix. I've just rewatched GoldenEye. With Pierce Brosnan. $600 million, you don't ever pay that kind of money for a film.
Yeah.
Okay. There's not a film out there. I don't care how good you think it is. Anytime a film is made and released, it's a crapshoot whether or not it's going to be made. Look back at Titanic. Titanic made what, $1.5 million, but it had huge problems, financial and shooting problems before it was released.
Right.
Okay. The Avengers had problems. You know, before it got released. It's a crapshoot. They weren't sure it was going to be, good.
Yeah.
Apple TV, they had Greyhound, which, by the way, Tom, it's a convoy, what they call a Q ship, going across the Atlantic, taking out U-boats in the Second World War. Okay, it's the Battle of the North Atlantic.
Sounds pretty good.
What I heard, it was a dynamite film, but nobody saw it because, Tom, you were right. Nobody's watching Apple TV.
Right.
And I just looked up. I know that I only have it because it's on my phone. Here are the devices that you can use: an Amazon Fire TV stick thing, a Roku TV of some sort, Samsung. Looks like some phones and TVs, and that's about it.
You can't just pull it up on your laptop?
Not that I'm seeing here.
Let me see.
And they just announced about last month that it's coming to Xbox in the future.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like, you kind of only have limited options. Though a lot of people I know have Roku. So a lot of people would be able to get it, but not everybody. I don't have Roku.
Yeah, I have Fire Stick. And that was a lot of people have Fire Stick and Roku. Those are probably the most just straight up streaming service, like streaming devices that there are. I know Google's coming in. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then like a laptop, a phone, an iPad. I know there's actually a new Google Chromecast coming out where before Chromecast has like always been a thing, but you had to use your phone as a remote. And it wasn't, I guess, as intuitive as some of the other ones. And now Chromecast, they're coming out with a new one. And I don't know if you guys, we've never done this story, Thomas, but HBO Max is hardly on any like streaming device.
Yeah, I know. That's true.
Yep, it's only on my Xbox.
Exactly, it's only on my PS4 and my laptop, obviously. But the new Chromecast that's coming out, it's gonna have HBO Max.
Wow.
And who knows if it'll Apple TV Plus? That sounds like it wouldn't because it's a Google device. I can't imagine.
No,
That's crossing the streams.
Yeah.
no. That's called hatred between the two. You know.
Yeah.
No, the HBO Max is basically snagging everything that's Warner Brothers, DC Comics, DC Universe. I'm surprised it's still around. They haven't shifted everything over to that already.
They're moving it. Yeah.
They will be.
Yeah, I expect DC Universe to basically be shut down by the end of the year.
Well,
Yeah.
it's shifting to a comics only service.
Really? And,
Yeah.
and who's gonna look at their comics on their laptop, for a streaming service?
Streaming service. Yeah.
Well, it's changing from DC Universe to DC Universe Infinite, and it's basically becoming Marvel Unlimited for DC. Is how
I'm sorry.
it is.
There's something to be said for reading a comic with on paper.
Oh, I definitely buy comics and read them in paper. I like that as
my
well.
iPad.
But
Tom, you and I will have to talk about comics because I got some reviews. But I mean, look, $600 million, you don't pay that for anything unless you're buying something big. Okay. Yeah. If you're buying a franchise like how much did Disney get for Star Wars?
$2.5 billion.
Yeah. Okay. And why is that? Huge effing audience. Okay.
Yeah.
But Disney also got Indiana Jones.
Well, it's Lucasfilm, right?
Yeah.
Now they won't admit it, but they also got Howard the Duck. Okay. So
yeah, they did.
But that was a huge audience. CBS has got Star Trek, huge franchise. Okay. For $600 million, you better give me the whole damn James Bond franchise, including your films.
It's a good point. It is a good point because $600 million. That's a percentage of all of Star Wars.
And don't forget, yeah, exactly. But don't forget that Apple TV, whatever they call themselves, they still have to answer to shareholders.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they're going to have to go. Yeah, we spent $600 million on one film. Yeah, the board of directors, the head of Apple TV, they're all out the door before the pencil drops.
Yeah.
Okay? So that's what you got to remember. Again, we're back to the business side, which I hate talking about that. But yeah, it's $600 million. Oh my God, that's insane. I don't even know who would even suggest that, because if you look at the last 3 or 4 Bond films under Daniel Craig, they didn't get that kind of money.
Yeah. I mean, I think for them, I think from their perspective, what is it? Is it Warner Brothers that has Universal, or that has
No, it's under Universal United Artists.
Oh, it is Universal. Like I think maybe for them, 600 million's like, hey, that's probably competitive with what we'd make in the box office. Like that'd be our.
Bond doesn't make $600 million. Okay, you're lucky if Bond makes $200 million. Okay, and that's the reality of the Bond films. They have slipped into a niche fan thing. Okay, they're not like they were back in the 70s and the 80s. You get like a Sunday night movie, and it would be the edited James Bond film, and people would sit around and watch that. Yeah. When was the last time you saw a Bond film on network television or anything like that?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. The whole world has changed. We're now talking streaming services, and the problem becomes now is you, for the money we're talking about, you have to get a return on investment.
Yeah.
And some of these films and some of these shows just ain't doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, which surprises me that, since we're talking straight, that Netflix is doing a sequel to Bright.
That is right.
I am surprised by that. But again, that's another subject for you guys to talk about later. We're talking about Bond here.
Yeah.
But the question now is that who's going to be the next Bond? Because they've already talked about there's a couple of possibilities.
Yeah.
And that's where I think the 600 million was talked about, was not for that, but was for the future films.
I mean, I think that'd be an appropriate number for the whole franchise. Probably, they'd probably want more.
Yeah, you give me the franchise plus, say, the next 4 films, I'll pay you $600 million.
Yeah, that's the damn good deal.
Right. You give me exclusive rights to stream the Bond films from all the way from, hell, I'll even go all the way back to the 1950s, which was the original Casino Royale television film, which was not even 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. And he was Jimmy Bond, not James Bond. And Dr. No. All the way up to this one, No Time to Die, plus say 3 or 4 more films, I'll pay you the $600 million, but I get exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and they're not going to give that up.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's what we're talking about here. Is with that kind of money, you gotta make some hard deals. Yeah, Netflix and Amazon, they got money to burn. Does Apple have money to burn? Yeah, but because this is such a new thing, I mean, if you look at Amazon and look at Netflix, they took small steps to get into where they're at now, to be that powerhouse, and they chose very carefully, and they took some very small risks until they got an audience, and then they took the big risks.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely would have been a big risk. They would have needed, because like you were saying with the shareholders and all that, like they would have needed to be like, hey, we bought this for X amount of money, but look how much money it brought in, and look at our future projections and how it set us up for a grand future, and look how many more subscribers we got, and look how many more eyes we got on this show and that original and this original.
And that's the key, Tom, that you said also, and Dave, you just hinted at it. How many more subscribers are you going to bring in?
That's the whole point.
On. And how many people, I mean, I've got, with the exception of this last film, not this one, The Time for Die, but Spectre, I've got them all on DVD. Why did you go see Apple?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
You know, and how many other people have them? I mean, they came in box sets.
Yeah.
Okay. And you go on eBay, you can find them no problem.
Yeah.
So you pay X number of dollars for, what was it, $4.95 or something a month? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got to get a hell of a lot of subscribers to make up that $600 million at $4.95 a pop.
Especially when you're giving them out for free with every new Apple product.
Thank you very much. Yeah, there you go. Okay.
I mean, not a bad idea for them. Hey, makes people want to maybe buy a little more. Be like, oh, hey, we get this little streaming service when you buy this, Mom.
I want to go see Apple because I want to see the new Foundation series they got, because I'm a sci-fi geek. The Foundation, based off of the Foundation trilogy. I've seen some stuff. I want to see that.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if I'm going to swing $4.95. You know, I mean, I'm at the point now where my money is important. There's so many blooming streaming services out there.
Yeah. There's so many. Yeah.
I'm a Star Trek geek, and I haven't paid CBS penny one. Okay, you know,
right.
I took the freebies and whatever. But yeah, you got it. You got it. Nowadays, it's not like network television, which was what'd you do? You sat through the commercials, or you ran to the bathroom and then to the kitchen to get your popcorn or the potato chips. And that was part of the deal. You had to suffer through the commercials, right?
Yeah.
Now with the streaming services, you don't do that. Notice the streaming services like Disney and some of them got smart. They don't drop them all at once. You know, you got to watch them week by week like they used to do in network television. First series drives you crazy.
I actually like it.
I like it too for some shows,
because it helps me. It helps me fit it into my schedule a little easier.
Well, also if you think about what happened over the week, and your anticipation builds up for the next episode.
Yeah,
exactly.
I think that even just for building, like, getting more. I think for Mandalorian's the greatest example of that last year, where people didn't have to. It can't. The whole season dropped. Everyone's already watched and talked about the whole thing. Whereas with Mandalorian last year, Baby Yoda's at the end, and then now everyone's tuning into episode 1, and then they're like, "Oh, we're ready for episode 2." It grew and grew and grew. I mean, I even just know people that I'm not even a big Star Wars fan that like The Mandalorian that haven't even seen all the Star Wars movies.
This is where I have to do the shameless plug here for a second about Mandalorian. My host, Mark Lee, and I will be doing a Mandalorian show on the 29th, just before it drops. So we're talking about that. And Mark has contacts. Okay, so I'm just going to tell you now. Watch for Mark. We've got a number of posts up about it when it's going to happen and everything else. So that's my shameless plug.
Hey, we love those here.
Yes. I mean, that's the problem, though, is with what you're talking about with the monies that are involved. And by the way, Bond got moved 3 times, not just 2 times. It was originally supposed to be a summer release, a summer tentpole film. And then it got moved to, I think it was August, and then to November, and now and at this point, I think you're right. I think it's going to be sold to one of the streaming services. And Dave, you're right about, you're going to have a bottleneck with all these films that they've got in the can.
Yep.
You'll notice that some of these films are starting to go to the streaming services or on demand because they got to get them out there. They got to start bringing them out so that people can do the press for it, so that they can make some return on money on these.
Exactly.
Because remember, when you do a film, you don't just do the film, you've got to do the post-production, which, you guys talked about with Justice League. You have to do the looping and stuff like that. And then when you're done, you got to go do the press briefings and everything.
Yep. And all the marketing and all that.
Yeah. And that's can sometimes be up to a year also for an actor.
And quietly, like you were saying, smaller films especially, we've noticed have been going on streaming services, even ones that, because when you go to see a movie in theaters, you notice when you're looking at all the time slots of all different films, oh, what's that like random horror movie? What's that random like romantic comedy that's coming that's out right now that you had never seen before, but it's in theaters playing. Those movies are going to streaming.
Yeah, and you look at like Netflix. How many teenage young girl coming of age films did they have suddenly dropped on Netflix? I'm like going, yeah, I'm not watching that one. My daughter, she's 13, 14, but not me. But yeah, and that's where we are with the film systems, because there's a number of chains have already announced bankruptcy, that they're not coming back.
Yeah.
Okay. Now the question now becomes is somebody going to come in and buy them up? Why? Because we don't know when they're going to open up again. And two,
not right now.
If you know anything about this, the key here on watching that is who's going to buy the real estate of these theaters. Okay. The ground they're sitting on, the parking lot. So that's a lot of land, and I told somebody when COVID started, boy, if I had money, be time to buy commercial real estate.
Yeah. I mean, and it's expensive. I'm hearing stories of like how the big chains like Regal and AMC, like that's where they're losing the money, is in the real estate, because it's just sitting there. You're paying for this real estate, and it's just sitting there doing nothing, essentially.
And go drive by your local theater and look to see, okay, is the grass been cut?
Yeah.
Did somebody throw rocks through the windows yet?
Right.
Is there graffiti? I know on one of my local ones, not only is there graffiti, but the movie posters have all shriveled up. And
wow.
A couple of them are missing.
It's sad, man. This is just sad.
Yeah, it is.
I love the theater.
But again, it's a changing time. It was changing already.
Yeah.
We talked about this. I've seen you guys talk about this. It's just been sped up.
Yep.
Yes,
it has. And I think this is leading to, we should wrap this up.
Yeah.
I think it's leading to, no, you were good. I was just saying, it's leading to just big films being in theaters, I think. It's going to be where all these smaller films that get created by a studio are going to be like, hey, Netflix, Apple TV Plus, Disney Plus, Hulu, you want to buy this for how much money? Okay, that seems like reasonable. We'll probably make less at the box office. Here you go. And we're going to see the big block. It's going to be a big event going to the movies, I feel like, at least for especially the casual moviegoers. Where
the casual moviegoers, they're going to Avengers Endgame.
Exactly.
They're not going to go see My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and that's what you got to realize, that Shakespeare in Love, great film, but it ain't a blockbuster.
Yeah,
and it already kind of was like that, but it's just only going to get more drastically like that.
Yeah.
Now the gap between blockbusters and everybody's favorite independent film is as widening as the wage gap in America.
Yep.
How did I pull that off? I don't know. One final note, we were talking about all these movies going to streaming. I pulled up the article from last week. It is 41 movies that had a theatrical release date and are now going to be streaming.
Yeah.
Some of which, for example, Hamilton was scheduled of October of next year, and they dropped it early this year, July 3rd on Disney Plus.
It's crazy. It was scheduled for October of next year. What?
Yeah. And if you look at Phase 4 of Marvel, there was supposed to be a number of those being released next year. They're already talking 2022 and 2023.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're talking some serious timelines here, and even then, they're not even sure.
Yeah.
So it's going to be. We live in interesting times, as the ancient Chinese curse says. Yeah,
we definitely do.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Jerome, thank you for joining us again and really helping us wrap our heads around the business side of things.
Not a problem.
We're just creatives here.
The best thing for you guys to do is go to some of these conventions, get yourself in where you can sit down with some of the professionals and talk with them. You will learn a ton about the business, and it's kind of scary. But it's also eye-opening when you see those big blockbusters come out. You go, now I understand how they did it, and it becomes more impressive.
Right.
Yeah.
So, thanks, guys. I appreciate you inviting me on the show. If you need me ever again, let me know. I'm always available for you, and I always enjoy watching your show.
Sounds
Thank
good.
You so
Thank
much.
you so much.
We'd love to have you on. Everyone, that was Jerome Connor from Saturday Morning Cartoons. He knows a lot more about stuff than just cartoons.
Yeah, for sure.
So, one of those movies that has been recently dropped onto the screening is Borat, subsequent movie film.
All right, Thomas, quick. What?
Okay, David.
I'm going to watch it, man. I'm going to watch it.
Let me sell you and the rest of the world. Do you like making fun of everything? Me too. This movie is made for you. Do you get nervous about everything? This movie is not for you. I am both of those people, so I'm somewhere in the middle. I don't actually still know how I feel about this movie. Some of it was hilarious. I'm going to spoil this. There's a part where Borat has to communicate with the head of the Kazakhstan government. They do it via fax machine. He goes to like a UPS and has a guy, he writes out a message. He tells the guy this important message, and then he faxes it. And then the fax comes in, and they go back and forth like a text message, but from a fucking fax machine. And it starts out, it's just like, sup. And he's like, that's all you want to say? Yes. S-U-P. He sends it. He gets it back. Sup, question mark. And he's like, he's like, what do you, he's like, no. Chillin'. What about you? And that's how they start. So that, hilarious. There's a lot of other stuff that is incredibly disturbing.
Okay.
Just
forewarning, yeah.
Forewarning, 5 warning, 6 warning, sept warning, oct warning, like bad. Like it happened, and I was like, I at 14 probably would have laughed at this, but now I'm a little bit traumatized by what I'm seeing on screen because what Borat is the first movie, he gets a lot of resistance. Everything he's trying to do, they're just fighting him almost the whole way. Like, you can't say that. You can't do stuff like that. What are you doing? You can't do that. And now it's like the exact opposite. They're encouraging him. And a lot of this movie, he's disguised not as Borat, but as a completely different person because Borat is known. Like, everybody knows who Borat is. Very nice. And there's some really great moments. You know, it's like a female character. I think it's already been said. His daughter, this actress plays his daughter, and she's like, nice, and he goes, no, it's pronounced nice, and she's like, don't mansplain me, and it's just so funny where and when it comes and how it's done, especially as you see how Borat fathers throughout the movie. I highly recommend this just because it is an amazing social experiment. That's actually probably the best way to say it. It's an amazing social experiment, and you'll probably end up traumatized too.
Okay.
We're going to take a quick ad break just to cleanse the palate here. If you want to sponsor Lights Thunder Action, you can contact myself, David Thompson, Terry McIver, or lightsthunderaction@gmail.com, and we will make an amazing ad for you.
Famous Faces and Funnies in Melbourne, Florida is leading the way in pop culture fun. From comic books and graphic novels to Funko Pops and collector's items, Famous Faces and Funnies has it all. Rick Shea and the professional team at Famous Faces and Funnies are friendly and knowledgeable. Whether you're looking for toys, props, collector treasures, or a new comic book, Famous Faces and Funnies is your one-stop shop. To find Famous Faces and Funnies on Facebook and Twitter, just type at FFF Comics.
And we're back. Thank you for enjoying that ad break. David, you're cueing the visual audience here. It's time.
We're ready.
This is the way. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a 15-ish minute extravaganza of fan stories, or should we call it man stories? Mando stories? Man
Thories?
Stories? Sure. We're going off the rails already. We're gonna go ahead and play both trailers because, ladies and gentlemen, 6 days from now, Mandalorian Season 2 will be live and in your house via Disney Plus. WWE, please do not sue me. It's just so much fun to say. So we're going to watch trailer number 1, and then the special look from this past Monday
Night Football,
which I watched live because I did not sleep all week. Yay!
Yeah.
Oh, start the sound. Maybe that's helpful. How loud is that, David?
Not loud.
Not?
Nope.
Cool.
Loud.
Because I can't hear you at all.
Oh.
All right, so we're seeing the ship coast. We've seen this trailer before. Wow. Mando with the little baby yeet.
You must reunite it with its own kind.
You must reunite it with its own kind.
This you must determine.
Tatooine. Big yeet on that.
The songs of Eon
Snow
past
Planet.
tell of
Baby
battles
yeet.
between Mandalore the
Mando
Great
kneeling.
and an order of sorcerers called Jedi.
Here we go. This is an important moment. Sasha Banks. I
Yeah.
have stories about this.
And deliver this creature to a race of
I had
angry
a-
sorcerers.
This is the way.
This is the way.
Nailed it.
I love this. I love this because there's a boat.
Sorry, I could not hear you. What was that?
I said, I love that there's a boat. That's all.
Yes, Jabba the Pod is so in love with the boats that they have a whole new segment where they just say boat. And I love it.
It's also cool when there's that part when you saw like stormtroopers running and you hear that like wow,
Yeah.
that classic like siren noise.
Here we go.
Gotta love it.
This is the way.
This is the way.
All right.
So we're gonna hop right in to the next one. So he's being chased by X-wings here. Why? What's happening? I don't know, but I want to know. We'll find out
Looks like
Friday.
a movie, honestly. It's crazy.
It does, and I think this season's gonna be.
I need your help. I've been quested to bring this one back to its kind.
Focused around that central line. I've been quested to send this one back to find its own kind.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. That's what
If I find more Mandalorians, they can help me.
right.
Wherever I go, he goes.
And that is,
Same.
you know, boats.
Sand troopers.
Boats. We see the blue guy from episode 1 of last season. And they're just teaming up and just fighting. Pew pew.
Oh, the music. Dude, I can't
Only
wait
on the
for
Disney
music.
Plus. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna hop helmet first into my fan theory.
Yes.
And it centers around that line. I'm here on business. I need your help. I've been quested to bring this one back to his kind. And then he goes on to say, if I can locate other Mandalorians, they can guide me. Why is that the central point to my fan theory? I hear you thinking very loudly from thousands of miles away. This is why. Remember way back in whatever month that was when we had a smorgasvine of Mando rumors that were being dropped about Bo-Katan Kryz coming in, Sabine Wren, Ahsoka, Boba Fett, Rex, more clones, potential flashbacks, all of these grand things. Yeah. Well, now he has made it known that he is looking for other Mandalorians so that he can get their help to get information on the Jedi to get Baby Yeet to whomever is going to be his father or trainer, master, whatever you want to call it. And I'm gonna be honest. I didn't think Sasha Banks was going to be Sabine Wren after the first trailer came out, just because it just didn't fit with the vibe.
Yeah.
But knowing now that Mando's looking for Mandalorians, and she is the one who helped bring Mandalorians back together after freeing Mandalore from Imperial rule in Star Wars Rebels. Spoiler alert, David. Sorry. The fact that she's also, spoiler alert, she's looking for the main character of Rebels around this same time. If she finds out that a Mandalorian is looking for her, she's gonna want to know about them. So Sasha Banks now is back on my list of maybe she is Sabine Wren. I don't know how I feel about that, but I think those rumors, we'll get Ahsoka, we'll get Sabine Wren, we'll get Boba Fett. Timothy Oliphant is supposed to be playing. Oh my God, I want to call him Bob Vance, but that's not his name.
Bob
that's the offense. Cobb Vanth, I think is his name. See, that's why it's like that close. It's rumored that Timothy Oliphant is playing Cobb Vanth, who in the Legends universe of Star Wars went to the Sarlacc pit and found Boba Fett's armor, either crawled in and got it or something of that nature. And he was wearing it as a sheriff type of character trying to bring justice on Tatooine. There's rumors that Boba Fett is going to be in this. Now, I predicted last year that Boba Fett's armor was what we saw when Fennec Shand, a.k.a. Ming-Na Wen, a.k.a. Mulan, was killed and walked up. She says, you're going to want to know who I work for. They'll pay you for whatever. I thought it was Boba Fett. Very likely it is Cobb Vanth, and Boba Fett finds out about Cobb Vanth and is going to hire Mando to go and get his armor back, because this is the way, right? I think we will end up with him planet hopping, but now in a different way. Now we're going to meet more Mandos, and I think Mandos are going to drive the story forward. And I think we're going to find out that Bo-Katan Kryze, played by Starbuck. I forgot her real name for a second. Oh my God. Starbuck from Battlestar Galactica. Oh my God. I can't believe I forgot her name. Anyways, moving on. It'll pop into my head. I think we're going to find out that she died. And that is why and how Giancarlo Esposito is Katie Sackhoff. That is her name. Katie Sackhoff voiced Bo-Katan Kryze in the Clone Wars and the Rebels, and rumored that she's going to reprise that role in live action. I think Esposito is potentially a Mandalorian. And I only think that because it creates an amazing mystery, and it'll create a great villain for Mando to, you took out the Mandalorians. And it's like, but you are a Mandalorian? And that's why I now have to kill you. It adds more weight to the story. Right. David, what are some of your fan theories?
Yeah, so I don't know. Mine are less detailed than yours, which I knew they would be. But that's just the way I am when it comes to this kind of stuff, just because, I don't know, I haven't watched all of Rebels and stuff like that. The one thing, so
uncivilized.
here's some kind of, they're kind of on a different wavelength. I think just as a show, I think season 2 is going to feel a lot different than season 1 in the sense of the way it's formatted. And I think I'm going to enjoy it more because I believe it's going to be what I complained about in season 1 was how I said there was quote unquote filler episodes where the main through line plot wasn't really being pushed forward. It was kind of almost like side quests in a video game is what it felt like in some episodes. And I think that's how I would describe Mandalorian.
That's actually a really interesting way to put it.
Which is why I still really enjoyed the show, because I like side quests in video games, but it's just not the best stuff. I don't think it doesn't have the best cutscenes and all that. But anyway, I will say, I think that season 2 is going to be less filler, less side quests. I think it's going to be more plot driven, and I think we're already seeing that in the marketing for it. You know, you got to find more Mandalorians. We got to find Baby Yoda's people. So I believe that the story itself is just going to be more forefront and more in the forefront of all year. Like there's going to be a drive, like you just said, I completely agree. There's going to be this driving like story plot the whole season, and it's not going to be wrapped up until the last episode. Considering we know they're already planning season 3, season 17, like like they're not going to try to, I think, get too much done in a way where they're not going to try to kill that. I mean, people like, I don't know. I think they're going to really try to just make this season about a certain plot point and keep building up other characters as well for even further seasons and later seasons. I also think we're going to get lightsabers.
Yes.
And I think we're going to get more than people are even expecting. I think by the second half, I think by episode 5 through 8, I think lightsabers could be like just a part of the show, which I think the odds are against it, but
no, the odds are for it. You want to know why?
Yeah.
Giancarlo Esposito, as soon as Mando season 1 ended and they were asking him about season 2, he's like, yeah, I'm there. I'm kind of in the forefront. I'm chasing. And he's like, yeah, and I get to play around with some lightsabers and I get to have some cool fights.
Yeah. Lightsabers, man.
Give it to me.
I also do think we're going to get even more flashback scenes like we did in season 1, which I found to be some of the most riveting scenes of the entire season were some of those flashbacks. Because I think especially in a Star Wars universe, when there's so much rich history in the past that when you go back in time, you almost like, it's almost like that meme where it's like the guy playing video games and he sits up in his seat and is really paying attention. To me, watching Mandalorian season 1, when a flashback happened, I almost like started paying more attention because you're expecting Easter eggs. You're expecting to see something you already have seen before. And it's a really fun way to put the story through. And I think they're going to use it more because, especially with Filoni at the helm, he loves Star Wars so much and he's going to want to reference these sort of things. So that's mainly it. My main two are just that this season we're going to get, I had a third one. I forgot about it. We're just going to see more from this guy. When it comes, I think he's going to develop a bit. Like, it's not like he's obviously he's aging. They age really slowly. But
do you think he'll speak this season?
No, I think it'll just be more like him, maybe understanding more, less actual. I think he'll be like mute, but could like understand more than in season 1, where he was kind of just like really a baby.
He understood in season 1, but so like I've gone back to rewatch it a few times.
Yeah.
Shocking, I know. But the nuance that they play with him because like that's the best part about Baby Yoda is he's a mother effing puppet. And they can play so much nuance in it because it's so detailed and it's animatronic that I go back and watch it, and you can 100% tell he is he's understanding everything that's going on. He's completely aware. So like he eats the frog. What are you doing? Don't do that. And he spits the frog out. He's like,
right. But he's still like a kid. It's not like,
he's a kid.
Fully fledged. I'm saying, I agree. But I was just going to say that I think we may see him get like one word in. What if he says a sentence and it's like in backwards, like Yoda talk?
That makes sense. That would
be amazing. First, the internet would blow up.
I've got another question for you, David.
Okay.
Now, this is gonna segue into like my final fan theory that I have. I've heard some of this fan theory from Jabba the Pod, so I'll say that. But I've had this idea for a while now. Do you think that Baby Yoda is influencing Din Djarin through the Force? In a negative way? No, in any way whatsoever. Just as dry as a neutral.
I don't.
You don't.
I do not think he is. No. I think it's a fun question though, and a fun theory.
I still I don't have a personal answer for that, honestly. Like, I'm glad you did, because I don't. That's why I asked you the question. But I do think that Baby Yoda is 100% in the moment. And as we know, the Force is a living thing. It binds us together, it surrounds us, moves through us. And if you watch specifically episode 7 of last season, they're talking about when Cara Dune and Mando are talking about, what they're about to do next. Mando already had a plan. He was going to Queel because he needed Queel's help. He needed more people to go against Carl Weathers, Grief Karga, and the trap that he knew he was walking into. And as they're talking, Baby Yoda tries to fly them off course. And then they go up and they're like, oh, you're going to need something. He was doing that. I think he was doing that because he was afraid. He could feel the cold darkness around Queel. And he did not want to go to Queel because he knew that he is the reason Queel will die.
Okay, yeah.
And then because he's afraid, which is okay, fear is a real thing, and he's watching Cara Dune and Mando arm wrestle, he's afraid. So the dark side, the Force, is influencing him, because once you give into it or you're in that moment, it gets stronger. Just like when you're stronger with the light, when you play in the light, it gets stronger. When you play in the dark, it gets stronger. That's what's great about Gray. They can balance. And then he force chokes, which is a dark side trait, Cara Dune, and you see on his face pure anger. Like he's trying to choke them. And the episode before, it's the heist episode, and he plays his part beautifully of, bringing people around, teasing folks. Once he runs into the bad people, he's like, I don't want to deal with these bad people. Now, I'm going to have to watch episode 8 before the next season, obviously. But I think that Baby Yoda's strength in the Force is going to be a major plot point, obviously, going forward. And I think he has a specific connection through the Force to Din Djarin, and I think Din Djarin is Force sensitive.
Oh, really?
That's where I was getting to. I think... Now, this is the part I heard from Jabba the Pod, and I've already was thinking about this, but they said it, and they made a lot of sense about it. I think Din Djarin is going to end up wielding the Darksaber. And that this might turn into less about Baby Yoda's strength in the Force, but the Mandalorian. Why did we pick up with, and it's all from story perspective and why they decided to tell this story at this time in the universe. We started with him on his final mission before he goes to pick up Baby Yoda, right?
Yeah.
Why? And everything he does, he has an extra sensory ability almost, which is why I think he's Force sensitive.
Right. It'd be a fun way to move this story, Yeah, I think it'd be really interesting.
And my challenge for everyone is, when you go, if you're wanting to binge season 1 again before season 2,
don't got much time.
Or if you're just wanting to watch it through season 2, watch it through multiple lenses. Ask yourself certain questions before you watch it and try to look for those things. That's how I watch movies all the time. Watch it through the lens of, is Din Djarin Force sensitive? And let the material give you the answer. Because more often than not, the story never lies.
Great way to end the show, Thomas. Good job,
Dave. I appreciate that. This has been in my brain for about a year, and I am so stressed already about making Thor Watches season 2.
What's the deal with Thor Watches? Like, what are we going to expect here?
Thor watches season 2. You can expect whatever the hell we get from Mando because honestly, I'm using all of my improv ability at this point when it comes to Thor watches Mandalorian because I watch it, I come up with ideas like you hear now, and then I watch the show, give my thoughts on things as we go along, have a fan story at the end. I basically have no idea what the season's going to entail until I see the season.
Yeah.
So your guess is as good as mine, but expect more fun stuff. This isn't the only collectible that I'm having come into my possession. That was really hard to say. I went from sounding so eloquent about Star Wars to not being able to put a regular grammatical sentence together. Classic. Baby Yeet, my final payment is on November 5th. So people have already been receiving theirs. So I'm ready for Baby Yoda. It's also about the same size as this Mjolnir. Actually, Mjolnir might be smaller. He's 16 inches tall.
I've got mine. I'm ready.
You're ready. I'm ready. The dog is ready. David, where can everyone find you on social media?
Yeah, you guys can find me at my name, David Thompson, on Facebook, at David J. Thompson on Instagram and TikTok, and at my, I would say, most active social media account at David Thompson with 2 A's in the David on Twitter. Thomas, how about you?
You can find me at Thomas Carter Rochester -actor on Facebook, at Thomas Carter Rochester, all one word, no hyphens, no spaces on Instagram, at TC Rochester Act, that is TC Rochester ACT on Twitter, and of course, Life of Thor on YouTube. If you can't find it searching that, search Thor Watches The Mandalorian, and I guarantee you'll find it. I just thought of this. I don't know if people know how to spell my last name. A lot of people don't. So my last name is Rochester, like the city in New York. And, what is that state called? Minnesota. And then there's like 13 others around the nation. So, yeah. David, do you have anything to promote this week?
I've got nothing, brother.
I'm going to go right back.
Soon I will. Hopefully sometime soon I will.
Oh, are you going to guest on Thor Watches with some fan stories?
Sure.
Yeah. All right. As I've been doing all this month, and I'm going to keep doing that, Trenton Boone's GoFundMe for recouping some of the financial difficulties that, fighting cancer can bring upon you. I'm posting that GoFundMe in the comments of this live feed right here now. Again, he is a sophomore studying mathematics at Florida Tech, and he found out in June that he had a brain tumor. He had surgery on the 6th, and it's a grade 2 tumor called diffuse astrocytoma, and he's going through currently 7 days a week of chemo and 5 days a week of radiation. So anything you can do to share the link or donate will be much appreciated. And will be glorious when it comes to helping other people. And that's kind of like the name of the game, is help other people as much as you can, right?
Yep.
Thank you all for joining us on this 29th episode of Lights, Thunder, Action. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, everyone. Shout out to
maybe it will be Happy Halloween.